I'm finally getting to make my machete comparison video. I've been looking forward to this for a while. So I purchased 2 of the Sportsman's Friend or Sportsman's Guide Colombian military surplus machete boxes. And I've purchased a couple of individual machetes. And then I've got my original collection machetes. So I've got a pile of different machetes here that I'm going to try out, figure out which one is the very best for clearing trails. So really excited to get through this, and I've got a couple of people helping me out with this one. I got to get a edge on these things. They come with a courtesy edge from the factory, so they're not actually sharp. Now, let me see if I can show you one-handed. Yeah. So they basically cut nothing. So I'm going to start just with a standard file, see if I can't get something started, and go from there. It's hard to say if you can really see it with the phone. This is the factory edge or courtesy edge. You can see it's really rough there. And with the file, I'm starting to smooth it out. So here's the end I'm working on. It's still pretty coarse. I'm using a coarse file, but you can see the difference where I haven't gotten to it. It's just kind of etched on there. We're getting a little bit of a smoother blade. Starting to sharpen up a little bit. I just wanted to show you the progress I'm starting to make. So I got my edge here I'm working on. It's still a little bit rough. I got my printer paper, but it's starting to cut it instead of just tearing it apart. So, better than it was before. It literally was nothing. So, all right. So to keep some semblance of objectivity to this whole test, we're kind of doing a final run on each blade with this tool here. So that way, it's the same exact tool to edge each one. So in theory, they're about the same sharpness. We are finally ready to make the machete video. So we've got everything here, and I'm going to kind of go through the makes and models. This is my brother helping us out with his channel Goat River. I'll link that one down below. And of course, Davis is very excited to go through everything. So I'm going to kind of start right to left. This is a Trooper, and honestly, I do not know how to pronounce this properly. I'm going to put the description. This is a grass machete. It is 2-sided, designed to cut down grass and vines. We've got the Ontario Knives SP53 Bolo, kind of a classic bushcraft knife. We've got a United Cutlery, which is kind of a cheap Amazon Panama machete. Davis has his 16-inch Colima, which is not something he uses without supervision or at all. We've got the Ontario Knives 18-1 military machete. This is an actual authentic Vietnam. It's from 1970s. We've got the knockoff Gator Jr. Got a bill hook here, and this is JKM. Not sure what brand that is. We've got our 16-inch Bolo Tramontina, and got this little short incolma. This right here is the Ozark Trail. So this is your classic Walmart machete, brand new in the package. I've got the most common one you probably see, which is the Gerber 18-inch Gator.
And Dada, this is the one just like this machete.
Yep, this is a Collins 18. This is a kind of a no brand. I wish we had a better Kukri. This is called Tactical Performance Kukri. Over here, we've got our corn knife or cane knife. This is the Schrade parange. They call it the machete now. I don't think they actually make a parange. Marble parange. And then this is 27 or 25-inch Galvin. So this is a really long Panama here. Now this is what we'll be working our way through. We'll get you a little bit more information as we try out each one. So Daniel's got the Gerber Gator, and I'm going to kind of introduce each machete for this first round, and after that we're not going to kind of give so much detail. So he's going to start chopping grass. So this ditch is just full of regular old grass, long grass, and it's a little bit wet, which is fine. We're going to do real scenarios here. Nothing's got to be perfect. So go ahead and get it tried out. So the Gerber Gator is probably your most normal machete. I don't know. You could get it at Walmart, Academy, you know, all your sporting goods stores. And, you know, it's kind of the standard we're going to be comparing everything against. So
That one works nice.
next up is our rip-off Gator Junior. And Dan's going to try it out on regular grass. Why don't you back up, Davis? Back, back, back. And so the scoring system we're going to use is after each machete, we're going to lay it on the ground. And then we're going to rank them from the one we thought is the best to the one that we think is the worst. And I think there's like 20 machetes, something like that. And so the best machete is going to get number 1. The worst machetes get, you know, number 20 or whatever. And so it's going to be like golf. The machete with the lowest number by the end of it wins. And what we're looking for is the best machete for trail clearing. So we've got the Incolma 27-inch. So this is my longest one. This is a Panama machete. This came from that Sportsman's Colombian military machete surplus box I did a video on. So
Yep, cut that really long, Grandma.
and so what we're doing is we're trying to find the best machete for trail clearing. So it's not a specific job, but kind of one that's going to be all around the best. So the one with the lowest score will be the one they like the most. And what we're going to do is Daniel's going to take a whack at it and rank them. And then I will do it and rank them. And then we'll average those scores. So there's some little bit of empiric data, or at least a sample of 2. So we'll see how they stack up. So at the end of each task, we will line them up, rank them, and then I'll show you the spreadsheet. We'll kind of accrue that data during the video. So we've got the Incolma 10-inch machete, and I don't want to bias results here, but I have my suspicions that this thing is not going to be the best at anything, because it's a thin machete, it's a light machete, and it's a short machete. But we'll see. Let's try it out for grass.
Dada, could you watch me cut this tree? This looks like a nice tree. Doesn't need a way.
Well, a little bit. So this is our unboxing. We're opening our Walmart machete here. So again, this is the off-the-shelf. I think it's like 16 bucks. So this is another kind of standard machete. Everyone knows this. So this will be a good one to kind of compare everything by. It's an 18-inch Panama, thin blade. I don't think it's tapered or anything like that. So we'll see how it does.
I don't think this is going to be the worst.
No?
No, take that sip off.
Well, that's working. Here's your International Cutlery Panama. And like I said, we're not going to do this for every machete once we really get started with the video, but I just want to introduce everything. This one is roughly your sort of cheap one with still maybe a brand name from Amazon. So we'll try it out.
Dada, when are we going to get some free ones?
Pretty soon. Scoot back there a little bit today. So it's maybe not a collector machete, but I don't know, kind of. This is kind of my favorite. So this is the original Ontario, Vietnam era. And so the way you know it's from Vietnam or the 1970s is they print the name going this way and then US going that way. Everything after Vietnam, the US and the Ontario knives go the same direction. So I got this one on eBay. We're going to try it out, but after that, I'm probably just going to hang it on the wall just because this is like a 50-year-old original machete. So let's see.
Ow. Dada, can you walk these and make them
Well, seems like it's doing something. It'd probably mean more if I put it right next to another machete, but you can see that this is pretty thick blade compared to a lot of the actual Latin machetes or machetes from Latin America versus this American-made one, but we'll see if that's more effective. Here's our tactical performance Kukri. I really wish I had like a decent Kukri, but you know, I've got a lot of machetes for this video. It was starting to get expensive. I'd love to buy a SOG or a K-bar, but this is what I've got. My personal thought is this is probably not going to be the best machete of the bunch, but we'll see. This is our only Bolo, Tramontina, made in Brazil. I like this one. It feels really nice in hand, but it was my mistake. I intended to get an 18, but I managed to order a 16. I think it'd be a more fair comparison if it was an 18, but it still feels pretty good. Our marbles machete, pretty cool looking. I like that it's very much a tool, you know, bright orange so that you can't lose the thing. I feel like this is going to be a bit more of a chopper, but I haven't gotten my turn to use it yet. So, of course, I'm giving my opinions without using them, while Daniel's the one doing the chopping here. I don't want to spoil Daniel's final rankings here, but he's starting to lay them out in order, the ones he likes the best. So, number 1 to least useful, but once we're done sorting, we'll get the final count. Now he's going to play with this Schrade. It's a parange-ish. I really think that they used to produce a parange, and now they produce this, which they just call a machete. They don't even kind of label the cut. It's kind of a cutlass style. I think it's more of a toy at this point than something tool-like. So we're finally to a machete specifically designed to cut grass. The Trooper, and 27 inches. And again, I don't want to say this incorrectly, but this was hard to get. They were not available on Amazon for a long time. When it finally became available, I kind of asked for it for Christmas, and my wife was very gracious and got it for me. And of course, the infamous singing machete. So during our introduction, I forgot this guy. This is bush axe, so bit of a North American thing. So we'll try it out compared to the machetes. Obviously, it gives you a lot more reach, and it's a big, heavy chopper. Here's the corn knife, or cane knife. And these are very specific, a specific farming task of cutting down sugar cane or corn stalks. So, I don't know, it might be kind of limited in its use, but give it a try. We've got our bill hook here, another one from the Columbia military surplus box. This is another like specific farm implement, originally designed to cut around the base of a tree, like a fruit tree or a grapevine. The idea is the hook kind of pulls vines away. If you're a little bit inaccurate and whack it with the end of it, because it's dull, you're not going to kill the tree immediately. This is the Ontario Knives SP53 Bolo, and unfortunately Ontario Knives has shut down. I think August 2023. You can't get these anymore. If you watch some YouTube videos, this seems to be a real popular bushcraft guy. This is probably the most expensive machete I have, partially because I had to get it on eBay because they're not sold anymore, and partially just because it's, you know, a brand name knife. So definitely a chopper, maybe not so much for the reach. Our very last machete, this is just a Latin or long machete, regular machete, Collins 18. So 18 being the standard machete length. I'm worried about this one a little bit because this one had the worst edge out of the box. Like, I really had to work on it, so I'm not sure if it's perfectly sharp. You can hear it singing a little bit though. So now that we finished our first test against grass, and I'll be doing one too here, we're going to speed things up a little bit. We're not going to give each machete an introduction, and then we're going to just do a short clip of it working, and then at the end of each test, we'll give our opinion as to which one we liked. So Dan has laid these out from ones he likes the best to one he liked the least, so we'll get his opinion here.
So I definitely liked the hook machete. Like, it felt like the hook actually helped with cutting and grabbing the grass. The Vietnam era machete and the 20-some inch, I like the reach. You don't have to bend over so far and break your back, especially with this. You got nice reach. These two had a very good cut, which made it a lot easier, but you're down at the ground. So this is the 18 standard. I liked it better than the corn, again, because of the reach. The bush axe works well, but heavy, so over time you'll get tired with it. These two, the Gerber and the, I can't remember this one, like they both about equal. And from here down, it's honestly a lot to do with just how short they are and the weight of them. So, I mean, you don't want to be on your, like, bending over with your back all day with something heavy and short cutting grass.
So it looks like number 10 is our short little Panama style. And number 1, surprisingly, is that bill hook, which is a farm implement. It's made to cut grass away from trees, so I guess it makes sense.
This is the second part of the grass cutting test, and this will be Foster doing the cutting this time.
So here's our fake Gerber. Oh God, it's short. All right. I don't think this thing's gonna work. I like this one better than I thought. This is the Walmart one. Oh man, this thing is much heavier, but not in a good way. This thing cuts really nicely. It cuts, but would not want to cut grass. I mean, you move a lot faster.
And this, I'm sure all you recognize, is the OG bush axe from the original videos.
One Daniel says is his favorite. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. It's a nice blade, but it is way too short to do this realistically.
Last but not least, here's the 18-inch Panama.
This is more efficient than you'd think. My rating is a little bit different than Dan's, but generally in the same. I would say these guys are tied. I can't decide. But I'm honestly surprised. The bill hook cuts grass, fine grass, much better than I expected. The regular old Latin Panama. And then this guy, another surprise, it's a bit heavier and it's old, but I guess there's a reason the military's used it for so long. Now those, up to here, maybe this Bolo, I'd use any of these for grass. Anything down the line here, I don't think is really helpful. Of course, at the end, we got our little Panama machete again. So. A quick overview of our scoring system. I put together a spreadsheet And it's kind of like golf. The one we like the most gets the lowest point. So, you know, the number 1 place gets 1 point and so on. I just wanted to do like a kind of close-up reel of the machetes we like best for the specific task. So I've got this one here, the Trooper, and Dan's got the bill hook. And you can see we've actually got a significant amount of grass in this ditch. We're having to go down to get into the actual tall grass here. Moving up on the depth here, we've got this cane stuff, which is a Eastern North Carolina thing, kind of related to bamboo. Really annoying to get rid of. Yeah, I think it's going to take a little more chopping power, but maybe the slicing. Is anything being cut?
Not yet. There.
So this is a Vietnam. All right, Kukri time. Here's our Schrade parange, or, well, something. Here's our cane knife, which I think is for sugar cane, but we'll see. So this is Dan's favorite from the last time, to thin grass, the bill hook. Here's our classic 18-inch Panama, kind of standard machete, and Dan's last one for cane.
So this is cane brake. It's commonly found in Eastern North Carolina. It's part of the bamboo family. And I mean, as you can see, it's in kind of low land areas, a little swampy. And it can be a real pain making trails in the woods with them. And again, I like the bill hook. Like, it's got an extra little bit of weight at the end that really helps bring the swing around. The 27-inch long boy there, I mean, the fact that you can go back and forth very quickly, it cuts through fast. The long Panama, again, you got a long swing with a lot of speed of the tip. And the weight of the bush axe actually benefited this time. So I mean, it cut large amounts of it real quickly, but you would get tired pretty quick. The corn knife, I think that had a nice swing. It cut through easily. And honestly, kind of surprised me. The Walmart Panama ended up beating out the Vietnam era Panama. And another thing that surprised me, these two have kind of placed right next to each other again. The Bolo and the marbles. They both have nice clean cuts. They're a little short, so you gotta have your face a little closer to the cane brake. Then the 18, the Gerber. And again, from here down, it's just, they're so short, you got to have your face right in there. I actually smacked myself in the face pretty hard with a piece of cane brake that I hit at the bottom with this, and it stung a little bit. All right, and here's Foster starting on his test, starting with the Gerber. Oof.
like this one. Wow. Man. All right. Whew.
Last one, the 18-inch Panama by Collins.
Stop out with the bolo, you can tell helps a lot more. So starting to get our exercise. I would say so far the surprise of the whole set is that bill hook has been performing really, really well. I mean, I guess because it's designed to work on a farm, maybe it shouldn't be surprising. This one, the weight and the length, same here. You know, this being double-sided is nice, but it's, you know, pretty much in the same category. And honestly, the bush axe is nice because of the weight and the length, but it really is just a bill hook on a stick. And of course, down at the end, we're just getting into these short machetes again. And, you know, it's nothing against them, I guess. You know, this is a very fancy machete, but it's just not performing. This thing, we're both noticing, is just not holding an edge. And last, this little lightweight guy, just not doing much anything.
Oh.
So, surprisingly, we picked the same exact machete as our favorite for King. We actually picked the same top 4. So we're going to do a little bit of work with the bill hook and show that they're actually effective. They really do tear up the cane. Next up, we have a tangle of briars. Now, the grass and the cane were just good examples. I didn't actually need to get those out of the way. But here is where I put my kayaks in. This actually needs to be cleared out. So we're going to do some actual functional work. And if anyone's ever cleared this stuff before, they know it is a nightmare to get rid of. So we'll see which machete works the best.
I thought you said we were just hanging out. Now you got me working.
So round 1 on our tangle of vines. So we just found out with that last clip, using real short machete where your hands are near briars is no good. So here's that long Panama, singing along. And now we're using our shortest machete. I think that might not be the right way.
Oh.
I don't think it's for here's Walmart to the rescue. Is that cutting anything?
A little bit, but not like, but also that's pretty loose up there.
This is the old military Vietnam era Ontario.
As I saw from a couple last ones, I decided to put on some gloves. Probably would have been a smart idea to start with that with the briars.
So this is our only actual Kukri here. Davis is back from swim class, hanging out. So after a quick outfit change, Daniel's got his Paws Forever shirt. Turn around here, which is the shelter, dog shelter, cat shelter he works for or volunteers for in North Carolina. So they take animals that are coming from kill shelters that can't be homed and keep them there until they're homed, no matter what. So let's do some bolo work now.
All right.
Huh?
Right
Okay.
through it.
And like I said, we're actually doing work. The kayaks come down this little chute and into the pond, but not with a million vines in the way.
Oh, that just...
What? Right?
So Davis is over here critiquing our choices, and Dan is working with the Schrade.
We're working well too.
We made enough progress. We actually have to get the kayaks out the way here.
Can't use a boat.
Oh, what's your chair? All right. All ready?
I think we need to stand back.
That's a good idea. Oh man.
No, that's silly.
That's just singing.
You definitely gotta watch out for that.
What?
When you swing into the vine.
This is the cane knife.
That's gotten nice.
Down to the bill hook.
Is the bill hook the last one?
Now we got a couple more. So this is pretty much the shortest or second to shortest machete,
Yeah.
which always works against it, but
Daniel, that's okay. It's really powerful and sharp.
you got it. So we're actually running out of vines a little bit. This is Dan's last one with the 18-inch Latin. Dan's having some hard time. He can't decide. You can make them tie, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they both cut very well, and they have enough like oomph behind them with weight, so they still cut through the vines, but they're, when you're in that confined space. But yeah, I'd have to say, I think these two tie for the first spot right now. I mean, the Vietnam one has a nice weight to it, so it really breaks through the vines, and it's not super long. The bill hook, again, did very well. The hook was able to just grab them, really get it moved out of the way. The Gerber surprised me also. Then we have the 18-inch, wait, is this? Yeah, this is the Ozark
Walmart
Trail. So that's the Walmart. It did well. The, which one? That's the corn, not corn, but
Cane knife, yeah.
cane knife. It had a nice lightweight swing, so you can get it moving quickly. This one as well surprised me because this hasn't been doing very well on many of the other things, but its shortness was able to really get a quick swing in the brush. This cuts well when you connect, but it's so long, it was kind of getting tangled up when I was trying to make a backswing. And this is Davis's future machete. I believe this is 18 or 16 inch.
So yeah, he just wanted it in the mix for his own ranking, but it doesn't technically count.
And then you got the tactical. That actually did better than some of the other times I did this. This one being long but light, it kind of was, it did okay. The bush axe, once I got a solid cut with the blade, it cut right through, but the handle and the hilt were just constantly getting caught up with vines. And then down here was just very short, so I actually got smacked by some briars a couple times. This, I really think the blade is just getting duller and duller with each test.
But Daniel,
And then this one is, it's trying.
Dan has really chewed up these vines, so I don't have much to work with here, but I'll find some more.
what's that mean?
Well,
So you're testing some and you're putting some behind that.
oh. that's nice.
What?
This thing works really nicely over here.
Number 1.
Ooh.
Well, that looks nice. Ta-da.
Yeah.
And here's the honorable mention, I want to say 16-inch Panama, Davis's Future Machete.
Yeah, honestly, the shorter machetes perform better down here. It's actually pretty nice.
That's what they're mainly supposed to do.
And this one is the easiest machete because it kind of self-cuts.
Worked better than I thought.
There's less more.
I'm going to switch right over to the 18-inch here.
Hey, there's less forms. I can walk better.
I know, we're making progress.
And Dada,
This works pretty good.
Dada, do
Yeah?
I have to move those forms so we can swim on a boat through those? We might need to move those.
So here's my final call here. I really like the Bolo. With the tangled up thorns, you're in there tight. The shorter machetes definitely dominated this time around. So the Bolo and this parange were pretty helpful. And Davis and the Ontario here kind of all about the same. Really, this is pretty much in the same category. They're about tied for third here. The bill hook is still up in the rankings. Because it's longer, it gets tangled up, which is annoying. So you can see as I go down here, I got my long ones, and then this guy seems to be pretty low ranking consistently. You know, these guys were generally in the tail end of our rankings so far, but they've moved up a little bit for some reason. Just being able to move around in the water and stuff, it's nice to have the short machete. So we're kind of doing our highlight reel of the ones we thought were the favorite, and Dan and I kind of agree on these two here. Now the Bolo and the parange for cleaning up these little tangles around the pond.
I'm trying to climb this tree. And when you're done, I'm going to be trying to climb a tree.
Okay.
What tree do you think I should climb?
So, the sawback machetes get a lot of grief. And I've used the saw like once or twice for actual cutting. But something that is useful, an actual use for the sawback, is when you've cleared a bunch of stuff. I don't really feel like picking up all these thorns, but I just rake it with the sawback out of the way. This is actually one of the reasons I like the sawback. I don't use it for tearing stuff up, but I can just move everything out of the way without getting my hands on the thorns, which is kind of nice. You can see we've actually gotten all these thorns out of the way, which is nice. So you can pull the kayaks in and out. Dan using the Bolo to knock down one more tree where stuff is tangled up.
Reach far places with briars.
Along the tree line here, we get these little pine trees. And so we're gonna knock these back. And they're softwood, it should not be too hard. Honestly, all the machetes should be able to handle this. But we'll knock them down. Beginning the new round with the Gerber gator, or gator back, whatever.
With their older machetes.
All right, here's this little one. Oh, it actually cut something.
It cuts, but not clean.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So Day Day wanted to count how old this tree is we knocked out. This one's kind of stuck in there, but maybe a little machete would be helpful.
Or not. There we go.
So not exactly a little pine tree, but we still need to get this thing out of the way, so we're using the bolo.
It's good to cut this right here,
But
right?
it's still soft pine.
Nice.
Goats are coming along. We're kind of getting out of the range for this one, but that seemed pretty good. Gotta avoid the goats. Cane knife seems to be doing good.
That was cool. All right, there we go.
Whoa.
All right, last one.
That just took a few cuts.
Davis helping with the ranking. What do you think?
This guy goes here. I'm gonna put. That actually did really well too. I'm gonna do it. This in third. This was second best, and then that thing just chopped right through. That's right. And
Now,
this,
what's
like you said,
Kalima?
finally got into like cutting, like chopping territories.
What's
So
Kalima?
actually, I think this. Give this fourth. Like it really knocked through the wood.
You know, starting to get a much different lineup,
Oh yeah.
except for the bill hook being in the lead again.
Right. This surprised me. Like, I really thought, I mean, I don't know if maybe we're finally just getting it a little duller over the course of the contest here, but I mean, it still did an okay job, but it just kept getting, like, not cutting on each swing.
And to clarify, we're not sharpening these things between tests, because they should be able to do at least a little bit of work without needing to.
And the Schrade actually, or Schrade, I cannot pronounce that, but that surprised me as well. Like, I usually figured this would be kind of near the back end. And honorable mention, this was not last place this time.
Nope.
Only.
So you like the orange one better?
Yep.
Okay, let's try this one.
I mean, I like to. I
And
like all
then-
of them.
The mini?
Yep.
Not too bad.
Got the long
You cut
one.
off- That's pretty good. Let me find one of these little guys to try it on. There's just a little bit here.
What? You're doing the wrong aim.
There's the Walmart one. And here, it's a international cutlery, Amazon special. Kind of beat it down more than cut it. This place. That's a little thicker, so I'm gonna find a smaller one. A little better. Whew. It's actually a good example. This thing's right by this cable, so a long one's kind of annoying, so this is a good place for this short one. But Daniel said those didn't count because they were too small, so this one is more robust. Oh, goats. Sorry. It does not like the bigger ones. So we're kind of running out of little pine trees, which is a good thing, I guess. I'm going to try the bush axe on this bough here. All right, this one's pretty small, but good. Now this one? Mm-hmm. All right. Getting exhausted. This is the last one for this set. This works pretty well. So here are my picks from best to worst. Really, probably to here, everything this way is great. Like, it works really well. You can see we're starting to get into more choppy stuff, you know, heavier blades. The really long ones start to get annoying. You know, this one here is probably at the edge of what it could do. It's really a thin blade. I don't know if we're going to take this to actually chopping heavy things. This one consistently is doing terribly. This one's not awful, but because it's short and the chopping power is much less than these guys, it ended up kind of going down the ranks pretty far. This one really did some good work. It's pretty much a coin flip between the Bolo and the bill hook. I would take either one. Getting everything organized here. So for this bit, it's gonna be a bit more complicated because I don't want to cut trees down for no reason. So I'm gonna go along where I'm intending to put a trail and find trees that actually need to go. Now it's going to be a little bit more walking, and not every tree we cut into is the same. So the idea is not how fast every machete cuts a single tree down, it's just more how we feel that it's actually chopping. All right, heavy chopping. All right. So just to clarify, this is actually my property. We're not on public lands or something. And again, we're cutting where we're gonna put a trail, so we're not just arbitrarily knocking things down here. All right, we're now with our longest Latin. Good God. And the little guy. So this one has been struggling, and I just feel like it's not holding an edge. That just might be the steel it's made of versus the actual composition, but it's still, it's a, you know, gator back 18-inch Panama. So here's our Kukri, which is an actual chopper, and maybe it'll start to shine here. Well, seems to be. All right, so that thing is just about through. Dan's got the little 16-inch Bolo. Oh my God. All right, let's keep chopping. Just want to show that thing went right through. That's crazy.
Oh, well, I guess it'll have too much give. Well, we'll try.
Just so you know, this tree's not. That's just the top of the other tree. It's not in the ground.
So the Tupra 27-inch, we decided we're not really going to do the full hacking test because, I mean, this is a thin blade with a lot of give. We just don't want to end up damaging it. Like, I mean, I feel like it would cut in pretty well, but once you start pulling it out like I've been doing with the other ones, I don't want to torque the blade. So I'm just going to give it a couple hits just to at least give an idea, but I'm not really going to go full out with this one. I mean, even just hearing the difference. So, yeah. So the cane machete we think will probably be the same issue as the Tupra, so we don't want to just destroy it by whacking and whacking. So I'm going to give a couple hits just to see how it'll do. But I have a feeling it's just the blade's too thin. Well, it did better than the Tupra, but clearly it's not a chopper.
Switching trees is not quite as thick, but we've pretty much chopped this one to bits. So hopefully it still gives us a equal comparison. We're just going to try this one just to make sure that was a fair comparison. I think it hit the same spot twice. So just messing around with batoning with this thing. It's such a beast. Back to this little thinner tree with our 18-inch Latin. It's the very last one.
I think the tree is just giving way too. So for the heavy chopping, the Bolo and the marbles both did a great job. They had good power and weight to them without being overly long for an unwieldy swing. And then of course the Vietnam era. Then again, this thing has been doing top all day. The bill hook coming in fourth. And this guy hasn't been really ranking high for me in the other categories, but the weight of this thing just dug right into the tree. And the bush axe, even though it's not as accurate on your swings, since being closer, you can put a ton of power into it. The tactical surprised me. I mean, it really was a good chopper. The Gerber and the, I believe this is the Walmart blade actually. They both were more impressive on the chopping, and especially this. This was another one that wasn't doing it so well in like the more wiry items, but it basically seemed kind of the heavier the blade and mid-range swing worked better. I mean, this I had a lot of power behind, but the blade was so long and flimsy that it just kind of, you felt it in your hand and it didn't dig deep in the tree. And this, I mean, it's shorter, but it's just so lightweight that I didn't get good deep cuts. And of course this was trying. But these two, they're just They're thin enough blades. They're pretty specific to their job. So I wouldn't recommend chopping anything heavy duty with either of those.
Starting our last run. Here's the Gerber. Not want to come out. Yeah, down at the bottom, it's so long I can't even angle the blade properly. Walmart. Honestly, it's not terrible. Yeah, this thing is much better. So, moving on to the next tree. This one's really impressive because it's not even that heavy of a blade, but I don't know if it's the size of it, the length of it, or the shape, but it cuts nicely. I'll try up here so I'm not already where I've cut. If I could hit in the right spot, this thing is obviously amazing. All right, I'm doing it. One more try since I managed to not hit. I think we're getting tired, or I'm getting tired anyway. Down. Yep. That was 3. Yeah, it's just not heavy enough for how short it is. It's not terrible. The bush axe really feels like it should work. You got so much like leverage. I guess it does. All right, our bill hook. This heavy forward weight really actually works pretty well. It's almost through here, so. The last one, very last one. You can tell it's a nice machete, but it's just too thin and too light for this. I mean, it does it, but I just can't get the energy into it.
Yep.
This is my last ranking. This is heavy chopping. So I really liked the marbles. It's really compact and it puts the chopping power. It's a parange style. This is heavy. It gives you that big stick, which is nice, but it's still a little bit unwieldy. And then these guys are amazing, and I would tie them. I'm not really sure this is above that one, but as long as you keep the actual tip out of the wood, you can cut right there on the belly. This thing chops amazingly well, especially for its size. And even though this guy's the oldest one, it's been a workhorse. And down at the other end, we didn't even test these guys. They're just too light. And the real long one doesn't do any good. And if you get a short machete, if it's not heavy, if there's not weight to it, it doesn't cut anything. So I think that's how I like to rank them. So these are the winners of all the subcategories. So for the fine grass, we found that the bill hook did the best with that two-sided 27-inch as a close second. And for cane, it also won. So it won 2 categories. The next categories was tangled vines, which the Bolo won, and soft pine or small trees, which the Bolo also won. Then we got into heavy chopping, which the marbles, parang, and the Bolo tied. So the Bolo took 3 categories and was a close second in the other. So it's definitely proved itself as a pretty good all-around device. Here's our final lineup. We crunched all the numbers, and really surprising, the bill hook won. It's got a lot more chopping power than you would have thought, and I guess the forward hook design cuts kind of fine vines more than you would expect too. Right behind that is the Bolo, and honestly I'm wondering if it would get higher score if it was the longer one. Then we've got our Vietnam Era Ontario Knife Company 18-inch machete, and then we've got a marbles parang. Following that is just a regular old Latin machete, 18-inch Latin machete, and then a bush axe.
Kalima.
Yeah?
Machete David.
Then we've got our Gerber, and this is kind of the one everybody knows. We've got our long, our 27-inch here. So the length is helpful, but it kind of gets unwieldy. We've got our camp knife or bushcraft knife, the Ontario 53. We've got the double-sided long Kalima used for grass, and it was great for grass, but it just falls off the charts once we get into anything bigger. Got the cane knife and the Walmart machete, and honestly it hung in there. I mean, it's down in the rankings, but it's fine. We've got this Schrade machete, our Kukri. Maybe if we had a better quality Kukri, it'd rank up a little bit more. We've got this off-brand Gerber gator that I got from Harbor Freight. I really think that this is just not a great design. Then this United Cutlery or International Cutlery, Panama. And then finally this guy, which seemed to basically do nothing. Very thin, very short. There's got to be a specific use for it. Like, I don't think it's supposed to be used as a machete. So that's it. So in the end, I think either a bill hook or a Bolo is going to get you the most bang for your buck when you're clearing out the woods.
Dada.
Here's our spreadsheet with all the scores. You can see that we did a subtotal for each individual category, and then we have the grand total here. And I will post this somewhere, or try to figure out how to post it for YouTube. Thanks everybody for watching.